the Sonoma County housing market in 2023. What are my projections? What's gonna happen? Is it a good time to buy, sell? All of that we're gonna cover in this week's video. What's up, guys? My name is Danny M. Cronin. I'm a real estate agent right here in Sonoma County with W Real Estate. And if you have any questions, you want to know what is going on in Sonoma County, make sure you click subscribe to my YouTube channel. I drop a video once a week, every single week, all having to do with living in Sonoma County. And if you don't know by now, I am a full-time real estate agent. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to call me, text me, email me, whatever is most convenient for you. And with all that being said, let's jump right into this week's video. All right, so I have some data pulled up here. I want to kind of walk you guys through a couple different graphs. What's important to look at, what's not so important to look at, and what does all of this mean to the data in the past couple of months. As I'm sure you know by now, the real estate market has gone all the way up, and some may say it's coming down, but from what I'm seeing is it's really starting to level off. Back in 2019, when the pandemic arrived in the US, the real estate market went absolutely crazy. Fed dropped the interest rates to almost nearly nothing, historical lows in the 3s, in some cases in the 2%. Right now, we are starting to level out just a little bit. Homes aren't selling in 3 days with 15 offers and all of that sort of crazy stuff. And why all of that is starting to happen is because interest rates came back up a little bit. Homes are taking a little bit longer to sell just because buyers have more choices now than back in that, in the last really year or two with low interest rates. It was really giving a crazy buyer demand. So it wasn't just one person interested in a house when it popped up. There was, in some cases, 15, 20, even 30. So that would inevitably cause that home to sell for way over the asking price just because there was a bunch of people interested in that home. So I have the screen popped up here. I want to walk through a couple different graphs with you. The very first one is days on market. Now this is super, super, super important to pay attention to because like everything, real estate runs off of supply and demand, right? We'll get into the supply a little bit later in the next couple of graphs. But this first one here, this is demand. This is how long it's taking, on average, homes to sell in Sonoma County. So looking at the graph here, you can kind of see a gradual incline here from just about March, April of 2022 and to today. Now, this is December data. We are almost halfway through January now, so January's data will be available next month, and I'll make sure to do a video when the month ends. But we're going to be looking at December data here. So looking back, I mean, if you look back in March, April, May, June, on average, it was taking a home 29 to about 32 days to sell. And that is really, really fast. A normal baseline usually is about 30 days. It can go up and down from there. But fast forward to today, and you're going to start to see that it's taken a little bit longer for homes to sell. Again, this is mostly based off of where interest rates are today. And that we're seeing them, around that 6% mark. So it's nothing too crazy, but it definitely is an increase from what we have seen over the last couple of months. So 55 days right now on average for Sonoma County. Now this is when a home hits the market, gets an offer, has an accepted offer, goes through the whole escrow process, which can take 30, 40, sometimes in some cases even 60 days, depending on the loan. So as you can see, 55 days still relatively low. So it's not taking very long for homes to sell, but we are starting to see, it's funny, we get the emails coming in, price adjustment, people lowering prices. I think a lot of this is based off of agents. It was easy to list a home a couple of months ago. You can basically get the comps on that neighborhood and maybe even bump the price a little bit above what the comps were selling at, just because we all knew the demand was there and it was going to bring it, right? But what today we're seeing, homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. And I think a lot of that is due to a lot of agents comping homes in the last couple of months that sold, but that market versus today's market is completely different. So I do expect this to kind of come down even more over the next couple of months. Once we get some more data, some more sales, some more comparable sales to kind of go off of, this should level out just a little bit. But super important to pay attention to this. If you're ever thinking about buying, the very first step should be, how long is it taking a home to sell? That's going to give you the idea of, are a lot of people buying or is nobody buying? If no one's buying, why is that? Usually it's because interest rates have gone up a bit. So this is a good starting point right here and something to pay attention to. Let's go back a little bit here. Actually, we'll skip that. Let's go back to average price per square foot. Now, we don't really pay attention to this a lot. You usually use this if it's like a new construction home, but if it's just a resale, you just kind of go off of comps. What similar homes were selling for in that neighborhood in the last 3 to 6 months, really. And as you can see, it has gone up just a little bit, not too much. Going over 2 months of inventory. Now, like what I was talking about with the demand, this right here is the supply. This is how many homes are currently available on the market. One thing to pay attention to, I know it's kind of hard reading these graphs, 1.8, 1.9, 2.1, what does that even mean? So again, these are averages, so you're gonna get decimals just like this. And months of inventory is basically, if every single home were to sell, how long would it take? And we're going to see a lot of, 1.8, 1.9. So roughly 2 months to sell every single home on the market. Notes, the way inventory usually goes is 0 to 5 months. Anything in that range is going to be a seller's market. 5 to 6 months is a neutral market, meaning interest rates are stable and inventory is stable, and it's a neutral market, meaning there's not one party that's going to benefit more so than the others. If you're at like 1 month of inventory or even lower, just like what we have seen in the last couple of months, that's definitely going to be a seller's market. That means there's not a lot of homes available for sale and a ton of buyers out there looking. Usually when inventory is low, that means interest rates are low. So just kind of a standard there. So it's funny, we see these graphs, 1.9, spiked up in January last year to 2.7. Now we're starting to fall down a little bit. We were in the 2s there for a minute, but now we are coming back down. And it's funny when I talk to buyers, they say, some may say it's not a good time to buy. There's nothing for sale, whatever the case is. And looking at these numbers, we have been extremely spoiled over the last couple of years. There was only a couple moments in time there where inventory was above even 3 months. Now, for sellers, this is really, really good news. Again, that means there's not a ton of homes available on the market, and real estate feeds off of supply and demand. So if there is a ton of supply, that means the demand is going to be down, and vice versa. If there's not a lot of supply, that means the demand is up, meaning it's a good time to sell. So hopefully that shines some light. It answers a little bit of questions here. In terms of the market this year, I really believe we are going to see things stable out a little bit. I think they do kind of have a hold of this inflation thing. That is why those interest rates shot up. Inflation was through the roof. So obviously they're trying to level everything out, and by them doing that, what they have to do is make it a little bit more expensive to buy, because there was so much demand during COVID. I mean, it was crazy being a listing agent through some of that and being a buyer's agent through some of that, seeing the demand and how many people were interested in a home just 2, 3, 4 days on the market, and how much over the asking price that home sold for was ridiculous. I mean, the market we were in lately, the last couple of months, was something like we haven't seen in a really, really long time. But I do believe that there is a huge opportunity here for buyers as we slowly kind of start to see these prices come down. One thing to remember is, and I get this again all the time, prices are, interest rates are way too high. I don't want to buy right now. I don't want my payment to be XYZ, right? One thing to think about is, if it's possible, look at it from the other foot. Say you bought a home a year ago when prices were through the roof, homes were selling for $100,000 over asking. What does that mean? So you got locked into a home at, let's say 3%, but you spent $100,000 over the asking price and what over the comps suggest. So now you own a home, you're locked into a very healthy rate, but that $100,000 that you spent to over the asking price to purchase that home, that just may have eaten up, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your equity. Meaning it's going to take a lot of time for that market to cycle all the way back around for you to be able to sell that home for what you purchased it at. Versus today, you're buying a home, prices are coming down. Homes are selling for under asking now. Inventory is going up. Interest rates are up. But what that means for you is you're going to be able to secure a home under the comps. So you're going to be getting that home cheaper than what other people would have been able to purchase that home for just a few months ago. You're at a little bit of a higher interest rate, but you're buying low. Buy low, sell high. That rule applies to real estate. Buy low, you're in a higher interest rate. In a couple of years, when interest rates turn back around and we go through this whole cycle again, interest rates will come down. That is your opportunity to refinance that mortgage, get a cheaper payment, and you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a cheaper payment and you bought that house for less than what it's actually worth. Meaning you're going to be able to sell that home in just maybe, 2, 3, 4 years and actually get equity out of that property and make some money in the meantime. So something to think about. If you're worried about interest rates being too high, you got to look at it from the other foot. Would you rather purchase a house $100,000 over what the comps are suggesting just because the interest rate's low? You can't really go back and fix that like you can buying a home when rates are high. You can't, you can refinance that mortgage and you're going to be even. So something to look at here. I think we are in a very healthy real estate market in Sonoma County. And if you guys have any questions at all, please feel free, call me, text me, email me, whatever is most convenient for you. Let's sit down, let's schedule a Zoom call, let's talk about your plans, and let's see if it makes sense. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.